Lovely morning, my people. It's Thursday, and of course, the last Thursday of the month of June 2025. It's been a roller coaster, but we've got a packed show for you all through today. A breath of fresh air, and to reassure you that it's a good time to be and feel alive. This is a special welcome to Ways Breakfast. Hashtag what are you saying? I'm glad to be starting off this morning with you, my impeccable audience. On this show, you already know we give you the best conversations that shape our future, from politics to governance, everything health. We discuss technology, finance, and of course, trending issues are not left out. Well, sitting beautifully on this chair is I, your anchor for today, Omenka Oluchi Precious, and I'm excited to share this table with my incredible co-anchors. One will be joining us very soon, and I have God's Beauty on the table here.
Hello. Good morning. Okay.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well.
You're looking beautiful. You're actually going natural. What's going on?
It's my season to glow.
Okay.
The Lord has said that you will glow this season, and I said that's how it's going to be. Nothing is going to spoil it, but I'm excited to be here this morning. We have a very interesting conversation. I like when, when there's highlights or spotlight on a certain social issue, we get to talk about it. That's one of the reasons why I love waking up every morning to come talk here. I feel special in that sense, having to lend my voice to important conversations like this, and the fact that there are people listening to us, people taking notes. We're just part of the change that we desire. It makes me feel happy, even though sometimes in the morning I wish I had 5 more hours to sleep. But I mean, I'm excited to be here every morning. So how does your morning look like for you? How do you feel every time you wake up in the morning?
I think I don't know who I was telling before now, but I know I've been asked this question before. I wake up with that, the fact that I'm grateful to God, first off, the fact that I'm able to see the morning. I wake up excited. I wake up, happy that, okay, for me, it's another day to make money. It's another day to make money. It's another day to, ensure that, I'm laying a good, footprint. Do you understand? For me, it's just ensuring that, the day goes well. With even people around me are able to get that.
What if you had a spillover from last day? I mean, how do you handle the pressure from the last day? Maybe a lot of unfinished business, and then you have to start a new day on a fresh note. How are you able to balance both of them?
I think first off, I would always highlight your mindset. I don't like. I've always, set my mind to be, no matter what it is exactly. I don't like to even put myself in pressure and all of that. So once I'm not feeling, there's so much pressure, I'm overwhelmed, the first thing I'm saying is either this thing will pass, if it's a human problem. If it's work related, I'm saying this one too will pass. Waiting day DSF, I would draft it out. Okay, what am I supposed to do? What am I not doing now? Why am I not even doing this? Do you understand? I'll get my why and I'll try to, sort it out. So for me, every morning it's more like there's no issue that you cannot really solve.
I love
that's literally what it is. There's no issue. There's nothing at all that you really cannot solve. And for me, I've always wake up every morning to have that conversation with God. So when I have a conversation with God, I just carry everything. The one from yesterday, all the spillover, all the problem that we even come, I give all of them. Baba, please help me handle it. As we do the day together, I know for sure that it's just solve the issue just solves by itself. Really.
I love that.
Yeah, that's how it is.
I think you make a good motivational speaker.
Oh,
should we start looking at that career path?
No way.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our viewers, today's episode might look far-fetched, but it sure is an issue that has become extremely common over the years, and now many Nigerians are either on substance use or have a close family or friend who is on it. Today is World Drug Day, and we'll be discussing its prevention and treatment. We have an expert guest, a friend of the house, Dr. Green, who'll be joining us shortly. So we'll go on a break now and educate you on history. Tell us what your thoughts are on this historical event, and we'll be back shortly.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Maybe to stock the house in a month, maybe 100,000 will get rice, gari, beans, oil, little bit of fish, meat, and some. But now, even that 100,000 can hardly feed you in a week.
Ẹ wo yín sí gbogbo nǹkan tí wọn ò torí tẹ́lẹ̀ ẹ̀dìyẹ tẹ̀ ń wo yẹn a máa wà ní 3,000 25 àdèmàtà ní 5,000 4,000 àmọ́ yín sí àti rẹ̀ ẹ̀dìyẹ ní 8,000 naira àdèmàtà 9,000 sí.
The current cost of food right now is too high. The economic percentage of this country is unbearable.
In a day, I used to dash like many people like, they will come and see, I'm hungry, please help me with crayfish. So I won't let them go, I will give them.
Okay, like example now, we buy beans, a pint. Beans, let me say even 2,000 naira. But today, I went to buy beans, and I found out that beans is 12,500 naira. I just paint.
I'm a teller. Taba ni 500 low, taba ilo si lo oúnjẹ. Actually, I got 500 tey am okay, but you see, ke ba ni 15 gon lọ́wọ́. Ní bó ṣe ń lọ yìí, 15 le anything gon.
Before
Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for sticking with us. Our phone lines are open for you to join our conversation today. Please call us on 0702-500-7749 or 0701-424-2420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, head on now to the official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune in to channel 145 on your Go TV, and do not miss this for anything. About now, we're going to be taking a look at the pages of today's paper. We have the Punch, the Guardian, and the international papers, and Gosby will start.
All right, straight into the international paper, we have the South Morning Post newspaper. But beneath the masthead of the newspaper by the left, we have soft resistance, the next phase. And at the middle of that, we have Beijing, high private funds for project. Right side of that particular line, we have the Miss Hong Kong defense and mid-roll. Then at the main headline, we have country will be a consumption power, leave vows. Middle right, we have child sex abuse cases double in decade. Then bottom of the newspaper, which is the last headline on the newspaper, we have Xi to mix BRICS summit for the first time. We will send Premier to Rio instead. So there are two headlines I'll be taking, right? The first one is country will be a consumption power, leave vows. Now in April 2025, Premier Lee met with economists and business leaders to discuss strategies for boosting China's economy, signaling a high-level push to shift towards domestic consumption. Now, with exports weakened due to global slowdowns and trade tension, Lee urged policies that encourage people to spend more at home through measures like tax cuts, better wages, job security, and support for services such as retail and tourism to reduce reliance on foreign demand and keep the economy growing from within. So I feel like this is a beautiful approach, actually. We know China to, always want to export their old stuff to the likes of other countries like China, United States and, and all. So right now we have the Chinese president say that as we are always, exporting and giving other countries our product, why not also we, support ourselves by also selling and buying our product from within? And I think it's a beautiful approach, actually, because, they're making money from, having to, send to other countries. But then they should also make money from within. And I think it's, like I said, it's a beautiful one. And the measures that he's putting into place is what is really fascinating. Things like tax cuts, better wages, job security. You can actually tell that the president is, intentional about ensuring that, the economy is stabilized, the citizens are okay, they are well taken care of. Do you know what it is? I don't know, man. I think at this point, I want to tell you guys that officially, I think I am part of, the Chinese citizen.
The what now?
Because look at the beautiful things. Are you being serious? Look at the beautiful things that that they always talk about on their pages. Whether something around tech or something about the progress of the economy, there's just something to look out for. Something to. There's that they give you hope. This one, then they talk they show you like they see them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But there's this other headline that is quite devastating. I think it's even something that we here in Nigeria are actually struggling with, which is child sex abuse cases doubles in decade. Well, let me quickly check out the details. Quick one. All right, a recent Chinese report revealed that over 80% of child abuse cases in 2024 were committed by someone the child knew. Imagine, such as family members, teachers, and neighbors, with online grooming playing a significant role. Now, especially among preschool-age children, half of whom have been exposed to harmful online content. In Hong Kong, reported child sexual abuse cases, which rose sharply from 578 in 2022 to 696. Those cases are a lot in 2023, making up nearly half of the city's 1,394 total child abuse cases that year, highlighting both the growing threat of online exploitation and the persistent danger posed by trusted individuals. I think during the weekend, we have one pastor that's been doing some kabosh and all of that in Abuja. I think his name is Amos. And he was, it was reported that he raped a 14-year-old. And this is something that's been trending overly. And at this point, I'm confused as to what exactly we should do. What policies is it policy that should be the solution to these kind of things? Because we've been seeing it happen repeatedly. And look at the numbers from 578 in 2022 to 696 in 2023. We're not even talking about recently. It's crazy, man. It's
it is
really
actually,
crazy.
and it's a very sad one. But before we explore more of the headlines today, we have been joined by one of our amazing anchors, Okikiola Taiwo Jalukwan. I'd like to do the honor of introducing her. Welcome to the show.
Special guest of honor. Clap now, God bless you.
Welcome to the show. We're so happy to see you here.
Thank you.
How have you been, by the way? That question is hitting home.
The Lord is good all
I can
the
see
time.
that.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Can you take us through your own purpose, and if you'd like to comment on God's
Yes,
Beauty's
first
papers
off, when God's Beauty said she's now a Chinese citizen, I would like this to be publicly known that God's Beauty denied her country, her home country, and she's seeking asylum in another country.
That's wrong.
Where
Asylum. I never said that.
Where she's loved and adored. And then this child sex case, I think it's something that we need to even address, not just in China, but in Nigeria. I think awareness has to go beyond just talking about it on TV and actually educating parents on what child sex can, the kind of harm it can do to, their children. Not even talking about the men in this case. Half of the women that you talk to now in present-day Nigeria would have faced one childhood trauma or the other. And the fact that it's always someone that they know from somewhere. It's almost like you're watching me, you're looking for my weakness, you're looking for what ways you can attack me. So it's almost like there's predators everywhere in that sense, both boys and girls. So I feel like this is a conversation that needs to go beyond talking about it on TV and actually taking it to the grassroots, because the demographic and the numbers it actually happens more in areas where there are no TVs, there are no radios, there's nothing that they know about. It's just predators everywhere. So I think that that's one thing that I would also encourage us as anchors to go forth and do beyond TV. But then coming back to my home country, Nigeria, where it's not all bad news sometimes, most times.
Okay.
The Guardian newspaper has the headline saying, amid weak social services, states stake nearly 200 billion on renovations. Over 91% of FX liquidity outside formal banking system, APCON claims. Federal government to hold manufacturers, importers responsible for plastic pollution. Nigeria can make progress without efficient civil service, says Alake. And obedient ADA 108 others apply to INEC for registration. New tax regime on the way as Tinubu signs bills into law today. And finally, not the last story here, but all I can take is 17 soldiers killed in Niger as troops for attack. Well, I would love to say that there's no great new story here, but let's just talk about this INEC registration and the fact that 108 political parties want to register themselves.
The Punch has it as 110, actually.
No, he's saying the Guardian has 108 plus Obedient and ADA.
Okay,
I don't even know what ADA means.
in total.
Yes, in total at this point. But I don't know. As a political person, right, I can see a lot of propaganda in all of this registration, because if we're looking at coalition, right, 108 political parties is not coalition. I'll wake up one morning and feel like, let me register my own political party just because I can, right? And I'll have people under me. No party structure, nothing. And in that same 108 political party, you find somebody that even in streets cannot vote for him or her, will come out and say they want to run for presidency. So it's almost like a mockery of the political system of Nigeria. So if there's going to be a coalition, let it go beyond creating. Obi was already in the Labour Party. Why are you creating an Obedient Party again? It doesn't make sense to me, Nigerians. So let's maybe somehow start to advise ourselves. If anybody is creating a party, you can't tell me that there's no party out of this 108 where you people can find some alignment of ideology or values at some point, so that you people can come together and now maybe form that party and run maybe strictly for councillorship positions or chairmanship positions where you know that you have power. Not that you go and run for presidency and you don't even know anybody in the north. So please, let's just use our head in that sense. That's all I have on the Guardian newspaper.
You know why I'm laughing? Because you started by saying that the Nigerian papers don't all have bad news. And what we're hearing
Do you understand?
Not exactly.
I decided not
exactly
to
bad news, but welcome home in that sense. Yeah, so let me take you through the punch. We're running out of time, so I'll be very quick with all the stories here. It says PDP crisis get messier. 5 days to 100th NEC meeting. I was never arrested by EFCC over alleged $7.2 billion fraud, ex-NNPC CFO says. 17 soldiers killed, 10 others injured in battle with terrorists in Niger, says CDS. He says military deploys 800 special forces to combat insecurity. And of course, that's all the story for the Nigerian Tribune, pardon me. So yes, I was going to talk about the whole... I saw it in the Punch actually, and I was going to talk about it, even though the Tribune didn't exactly mention it. So, the way the Tribune highlighted this whole party stuff, not to drag the issue a whole lot, is because it was even highlighting how would I call it, messy and very disorganized it was. A lot of them had misappropriation of acronyms in that sense. Some of them didn't have logos. It's just like they woke up at the spur of the moment.
That's why I use that statement. I wake up, I create a party. Like this now, we're going to create a party. Just 3 of us.
And I was just thinking about it, that even if this was going to run in 2027, that's a whole lot of stress on we, the people that are going to be voting. Because imagine going to the polling unit and I'm scrolling through a whole number, thinking of which one. It's always giving Instagram stories on endless scroll and everything. I'm like, this is not really the solution we need to do governance. It's not having, this is like party jam, not just multi-party system now. And let's see how it unravels and uncovers at the end of the day. But that's all we can take for the papers this morning. Today's conversation is very, very important. We're talking about the prevention and treatment in commemoration of the World Drug Day. And we have an expert guest join us. So please stay with us. We'll be right back with our guests.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back to the show, our valued viewers. As I mentioned earlier, we're talking about World Drug Day, the prevention and treatment. And this is observed on June 26th, raising awareness about drug abuse and addiction. And let's discuss some treatment and prevention. There are treatment approaches. Some of them are medication-assisted therapy, MAT, combining medication with counseling to manage withdrawal symptoms and cravings. We also have cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, helping individuals identify and change negative thoughts, patterns and behavior. Then support groups as well, providing a sense of community and accountability for those in recovery. Prevention strategies include education and awareness, informing individuals about the risks and consequences of drug abuse, early intervention, identifying and addressing substance use issue early on, and community-based programs as well. The challenges and opportunities, we have stigma reduction, access to treatment, research and innovation. And I believe that by working together, we can make a positive impact on the lives of those affected by drug addiction and promote a healthier, more supportive community. Joining us today is a friend of the house, Dr. Igbor Clement, popularly known as Dr. Green. He's here once again to educate and enlighten us as with the topic. He'll take us through the prevention and, of course, the treatment of drug abuse. Good morning, Dr. Green.
Good morning. Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria.
Okay, good morning from wherever
Massive
you're
Foster,
joining us in
please.
the world. But it's
Yes, I
good
am.
to.
Yes, I am. I'm excited to be with you guys again. It's good to hang out with the gang on the What Are You Saying TV show.
Okay, the gang is happy to hang out with you too.
I
All
missed you
right.
guys actually, but we'll see behind the camera.
All right, definitely. Thank you for joining us. So we have having a very critical conversation this morning, and it's not all, it's not the kind of conversation that just causes us to shine our teeth and everything. It's very critical. It's urgent, and it's that kind of conversation that needs to be had. But before we even explore the deeper context to it, can you share your experience with medication-assisted therapy and its effectiveness in treating addiction?
Okay, so in treating addiction, there are lots of approach, like you rightly said. There are psychotherapy approaches and approaches using medications. All of these approaches matter. All of these approaches are important. It's usually not a one-man show when it comes to treating addiction. It's something that the patient himself has to be a part of. The families, societies, communities have to be a part of. At the hospital level, not just the doctors, not just the nurses, therapists have to be part of it, social workers have to be part of it. Many other occupational therapists, occupational health therapists have to be a part of it. So when it now comes to medication, yes, there are medications used because some of these drugs come with effects on the body that, are very untoward. It starts to affect the mental health and other parts of the physical health as well. So that's when we usually use medication mostly to reverse some of these effects that these substances are already having on, the person's mental health or physical health. But the mainstay, I would say, of treatment is not just medication, because if the medications are able to reverse some of these effects, it doesn't solve the problem. The problem is or are the drugs that the person is consuming. And what would really address that is or are therapies that aim at, improving your motivation towards stopping the use of these substances.
Thank you very much, Dr. Green. Of course, I'm very excited to also have you here. But you've mentioned family and friends in this sense, and I'm wondering, what are some of the early signs of substance use? Because it's something that most of us don't know until it gets bad or we see them on the streets and they're looking tattered and all of these things. But I believe that there are some people who are well dressed and all of these things still using, substances, and maybe can't afford rehab or therapy in that sense. But how can we identify, some of the early signs of this substance use before it gets that bad?
Okay. So to be very honest, you rightly said it that you can tell sometimes when someone is using substances, especially on the streets. The person starts looking tattered. When it begins to affect the person's health and psyche, it becomes obvious. But like you rightly said, there are some people that you would not know. Even amongst you where you live, where you stay, there are some people that wake up every morning, dress well, everything is well put together, but they are abusing substances. You understand? To understand this, you have to understand what these substances are. So when you talk about drug abuse now, drug abuse refers to the abuse of any psychoactive or illicit substances. Psychoactive substances are substances that have the ability to affect your psyche, your mind, your consciousness, the way you feel. Like when we were talking about mental health, the way you feel, the way you think, the way you behave, the way you react. Any substance that can affect that at all is a psychoactive substances. As little as alcohol, as pedestrian as alcohol is, it is a psychoactive substance. There are people that abuse alcohol, that use alcohol to a level that it begins to affect them. There are people that abuse cigarettes. There are people that abuse cannabis. Some of the most common ones we see, cannabis is one of the most common. The synthetic cannabis as well, the Canadian Lao, the Colorado, the Mamba, the Arizona, those synthetic cannabis are also very common these days. There are people that also abuse some medications that are used in healthcare to treat many conditions like painkillers, tramadol, TM, or whatever they call it. heroin, other opioids as well, like morphine. There are people that abuse them as well. Painkillers like pentazocine too are also being abused by people. So you can see the wide range of substances that can be abused. So because of this, it's usually difficult at times to tell when people are abusing substance until it begins to really affect them. However, psychologically, we can tell, from some patterns that we have seen in practice that, okay, this should raise your suspicion of substance use. You can begin to see a little bit of withdrawal from the person, a little bit of secrecy. The person is trying to hide, the person is becoming too secretive, the person is escaping to one place, to do some things, the person is alone, all the windows are shut, the person is probably in there smoking or abusing something, you understand? When it begins to affect the person, you can start to see some distortions in the person's appearance. The person is not looking as good as they used to. You begin to see some distortion in the person's thinking, the way they are beginning to feel and the way they are beginning to act as well. So these are some of the signs that you would see. Also, don't forget that you see a lot of videos on the internet. There are substances that you take, and as you take them, you will see the effect instantly. Something like eyes. We've seen these videos that were trending then that they say this miri, something like that. Eyes. I'm not sure. I don't know if you guys have come across videos like that.
Yes,
where you see someone that was probably taking something and the person is, or Colorado, Colos,
loud.
It's Colos. So you see someone that probably just takes a little sniff, or because those Colos are synthetic cannabinoid, they are very, let me say, lethal, because they can even kill. Because in that state, the person can go wherever, and the amount of damage that is occurring in the mind at that point is not something that you can even quantify, sometimes. So you can see some of those effects in real time. If you look at videos, even outside the country, see people that take other substances like heroin, this laughing gas and the rest, that they have this zombie-like states. Immediately you take the substance, it gives you that effect. That effect to you, is looking disorganized, but to the person is having his trip, you don't travailler, you don't play Clement, person is having his cruise at that moment, you understand? But it's also affecting the mind at that point.
Thank you so much, Dr. Grain. So I want us to talk about misconceptions, right? First off, what actually even lead people into taking all of these drugs? And now I want us to debunk some certain kind of mindsets, because I've been hearing a whole lot of things. I mean, there's a part of one of the reasons why some of these are celebrities, give us some very nice songs or kind of beats is because of the kind of substance that they take. That's one part. Then I think months ago, I was taking a course and I saw my own teacher that is actually tutoring me, right? Doing some vaping. And then I was curious to know why exactly, he was taking it. And before he would even say anything, my colleague there was like, oh, you don't know that in this thing there's herb inside. I'm like, really? So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of, misconceptions. I think there's a lot of wrong mindsets and, mentality that is actually flying around. And I want us to talk about it.
All right. Thank you. Very, very, very correct with your observation. There are many things that you hear and you hear people say about substances, to defend their use and all of that. So take the first part of the question. Some of the factors that contribute to drug abuse, there are a lot of factors, but the common one, we are talking about patterns now that we see in practice. The most common one that we see a lot, the most common cause that we see a lot, almost everybody that we see and we ask, the usual cause, why did you start this, will tell you is my friend, my guys, people around me. So that peer pressure is usually the most common, especially among young people, usually the most common cause that we see. Apart from peer pressure, you can also find people, dealing with some things, emotional pain, emotional trauma, maybe dealing with a mental health issue themselves or a mental health struggle. Then they begin to take these substances to, medicate as well. There's also the saying that an idle man is the devil's workshop. A lot of people don't have a purpose or things that they are doing with their life or with their time. So, when you have an empty space, nature abhors a vacuum. So when you have an empty space, time, nothing to fill your life up with, you tend to use substances to cope. Another very important pattern that we see in practice is this recent trend of cybercrime. It does two things. It gives people a lot of money that they did not work for and they did not have plans for. So when you have those kinds of money, you notice the kind of lifestyles that they begin to live. They engage in the hire prostitutes, they lodge in hotel, they begin to consume a lot of drugs because they have a lot of money unaccounted for and not really planned for. You understand? So the best cruise to show that, oh, I've arrived, I'm a new taker, is to start, doing all of these frivolous lifestyles, which includes a lot of drugs. Also, the second way that it affects drug use is that a lot of people use it to engage in cybercrime. Because of time differences and all that, there are many people that take some of these drugs to stay awake, to keep up, you understand, to be able to chat with their clients across different time zones and all of that. So those are some of the factors. The misconception parts now, there are so many misconceptions. The very, very common one, they will tell you that substance use does this, it does that, it will help you to do this. All are lies. There is no single benefit from taking substances, any substance at all. There is no single benefit. Yet I'm not saying this from a holier than thou perspective. I'm a young person as well, so I know what's up. But I will tell you, you understand? It's not do as I do now. It's not do as I say, not do whatever. These are the facts now. There's no single benefit. Whatever thing that you think that substances are doing for you, there are less harmful things that can do that, for you. You understand? Because the risks when it comes to substance outweighs whatever benefits you are getting. The damage on the mind, the damage on your physical body outweighs whatever benefit you think you might be getting from these substances. So the best thing to have in your head is that there is no use. So don't use it. Do you understand? The creativity part now. Creatives, the creative industry, in fact, this is a topic on its own. I'll probably have a Twitter space later to discuss it with some of my friends. I have a creative background myself. I've worked in several capacities as a creative, a talent manager. I used to host my own show. I've worked in artist representation. I've done a lot in show business. So I've been very close to many of the A-list down to the D-list celebrities in the country. And they will tell you, most people will tell you, to be fair, there are not a lot of them. There are some of them that are not using it, but those are not the ones that we are seeing all over our screens.
Right.
So this creative industry, our musicians, our actors promote substance use a lot, and it's bad. Government has to do something in that aspect to give stricter laws. You see an artist coming out with balloons, with red cups, signifying that they are consuming alcohol, with cigarettes, there are some artists that you cannot see them without, cannabis or something in their mouth, smoking. You understand? It's also part of the fake. There's something I used to tell my artists then, the fake star image. You understand? You want to look like a star. Some of them don't even smoke that much, but it's supposed to look like a bad guy, like a superstar, like I've arrived. There's a particular artist that I know that doesn't smoke that much, but every time you see him with a pack of cigarettes. In fact, the way he holds the cigarettes, you know that he's not a smoker. But anytime you see him, he's always with cigarettes. You can guess who the artist is already. It's pretty popular, but he doesn't even smoke that much. But he has to keep up that, I'm a bad boy persona. You understand? And this is bad. It's bad for the creative industry itself because back then, people loved Fela, the great Fela, Nicola Kuti, and Magic Fashion. People loved them, loved their music. But the reason why a lot of our parents did not want us to be creatives or be artists was because of the lifestyles that these people were living. The substance use, Fela and his heavy consumption of marijuana. You understand? These were some of the reasons that people didn't really want their children to pursue creativity as careers. So as creatives, we have to, start reversing some of these misconceptions. The truth is that you can create your best work. In fact, whatever work you think you created under the influence of a substance would be better without the influence of that substance. Because the substance is altering your mind. It's probably making you hear that beat that is not supposed to sound too good as perfect because you're under the influence at that point. So as creatives, as young creatives, I'm putting the word out. There are many creatives that I've worked with that do great work that have not taken a day of substance, a pinch of substance in their life, and they are still doing wonderful work. So you don't need it. You don't need it to relax. You don't need it to feel good. You don't need it to create, your best work. So
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Green. But I want us to take a very short break. And when we come back, we'll open up this discussion much more.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back, viewers. It has been a very interesting discourse, and I love the angle that we took a few minutes ago, having to open up the whole creative industry. And you know, sometimes on this table, we have discussed that our parents sometimes hinder us from following some of our passions and, you know, the things that are really interesting to us. But seeing how he has opened it up now, I think I can believe that they did it in good intention. I mean, if I was a mother and all the A-list celebrities I'm seeing are always
smoking Igbor.
You're not going to do that music. So that just stuck somewhere in my head. And I think it's a stereotype, or maybe not a stereotype. It's something that needs to be addressed and changed so that that industry is not perceived in the wrong light. But of course, we are talking about treatment and prevention. And I want us to talk about how we can reach out to people much more. So, I mean, in the school I graduated from, we usually have a lot of conferences, events, seminars, and they will target something drug abuse related. But guess what? I believe deep down that that thing doesn't make any progress as it should. And I'm not trying to speak down on anybody's effort in coming out to help people who are dealing with substance abuse and all. But I just feel like maybe at this point we need to be more intentional in how we provide, you know, let's say sensitization in that sense, so that we can really get the result that is required. So in your experience, Dr. Green, having to reach out to different demographics and age group, how can we tailor it in a way that it intentionally brings out the result that we want? Firstly, from having the attendance as well, because some people will not really want to go for an event that you have term as drug abuse. They don't even want to be associated with it. But then
unless
we need
they tell them that they're small chops.
Even if you tell them that they're small chops, they feel like, what am I going to do here? And yet we need all this awareness to be able to create the kind of mindset that we want. So I want you to profess solutions to how we can effectively create awareness in a way that we are driving the result that we require.
All right. First off, it's good to see you again, Oluchi. I think you went to Unilag,
Yes.
So greatest Akukites.
Great.
Yes, because I'm a graduate.
It's peppering the people on this table, but that's fine. Let's continue.
We apologize. We don't have an anthem because we don't do that. But yes, when you see the swagger, you know we're made in Lagos, the only Lagos. So yes, very important question and important conversations that need to be had. A big part of all this talk, let's not forget that the theme for this year's World Drug Day centers around prevention. The theme is the science is clear, invest in prevention. Paraphrased or something like that, but the theme is around prevention. The science is clear, or the science is clear, invest in prevention. So it needs to be said that the best form of treatment is prevention. And we all know this, prevention is better than cure. So it's easier for everybody, even for me, myself as a doctor. We are overwhelmed. I trained to be a mental health specialist. I'm working as a mental health specialist, and most of my ward is filled with victims of drug abuse. I use the word victims. I would explain later. Most of people in my ward are victims of drug abuse. I hope I'm not crossing some ethical lines, but there are researches that show this. Most of the people on the ward are victims of drug abuse, and it gives you less people and less resources to spend on people with actual mental illnesses not caused by substance. A bulk of the work that we do in mental health practice over the years has begun to shift towards drugs, towards substance. This is a problem. It's better for every one of us, for our families, for our societies, for our governments, to invest more in prevention than in cure for substance use. So what can we do? It's multifactorial, it's multi-level. We start from the individual. Individuals have to, tell themselves the truth about substances, which is why big shout out to What Are You Saying TV show for, first of all, being interested in conversations around mental health and for giving us this opportunity to have discussions like this. That is why we have to have the right information about substances. You have to be smart because people will come and tell you a lot of things. Your friends will tell you a lot of things to get you to join them in using substance. You have to know the truth. You have to know have your own personal stand on substance use. If you're already a victim of substance use, you have to begin to tell yourself the truth, motivate yourself to stop it before it is too late. And if it's already getting to a very advanced form of use, to get yourself in some form of treatment or management program that will help you restore you back to your normal self. You understand? So apart from the individual, families, we have to look at the families as well. Parents have to be more interested in what their children are doing. Parents have to be more interested in their children's psyche. A lot of people out of frustrations from the family and pressure and all of that. A lot of people will tell you there are songs, we'll still talk about the creativity part, like I said, there are songs that support a lot of the day. Sometimes food they give man joy. Canadian loud, the difference is, the feeling is different, the difference is feeling. You understand? There are different song lyrics that promote all these things. There are people that tell you that they are going through a lot and they have to take these substances to cope. Some of these pressures are from their families, expectations with the economy. Young people are going through a lot. People can't pull even and all that. You understand? Societies also have to be, more supportive, more caring. Like you said, in University of Lagos, big shout out to them. Like you said, lots of programs on substance use. Whether these programs seem to be yielding effect or not, we cannot stop having these programs. I cannot stop being in one platform or the other, speaking about substances, speaking about mental health. One of these days, by God's grace, the effect will show. Even if it's just one person watching this program that decides to quit substance use, we have done something.
Right.
You understand? Because that one person can continue, and then there's a discipleship system in substance use. One person in the friend group of 10 can start, then 2 will join. Before you know it, it's the whole 10. Those 10 will now become one person in another friend group before you know it. And this is how it is promoted, it is propagated. You understand? So if it's just one person that we can reach today, if it's just one person we can reach today, that one person can become 1,000 people later. Another form of encouragement to everybody out there watching this, even we having this conversation, as much as possible, let's spread the word about substances. Let's tell people, the more you use, the more you lose. Be smart, don't start. If you're already using, stop drug abuse. Let's start telling people these things. Let's start telling people the truth about substance use. Our community, our government, and the society as a large has a lot of work to do as well. Prevention, a big part of prevention is law enforcement. Where are the laws? How are they being enforced about substance use? Everywhere in Lagos, there are some estates in Lagos that is really close to the beach. Sorry that I'm calling Lagos a lot. That's where I grew up. So my apologies to whoever is offended. But not just Lagos. A lot of places, there are areas where in different states in Nigeria that are known for substance trading. There are some estates that you want to enter on the island now and you see one boy and like, Alpha, Shama, Alpha. I get loud, I get this, I get that. You understand? You climb a bike and the bike man is telling you, Alpha, you go take TM. You go to your roadside kiosk to buy something and the guy is telling you, I get cigar cell phone. You understand? Where are the laws that are going after these people that are preventing this? Even if it happens, people are becoming too brazen, too bold with the trade and the use of these substances. Where are the laws banning public consumption of these substances? How are they being enforced? There is an agency to do that. Let me not call name, but we know there's an agency.
All right, Dr. Green, I really feel I shouldn't interrupt you, but this is the most we can take for today. We're going to have this conversation behind the scene and, discuss more on how individually we can help to bring the change that we desire. But I'm going to go home with a quote that you have mentioned here, and I'm sure Godriti was nodding to that. He said, the more you use, the more you lose. And this is just how we're going to commemorate World Drug Day.
Be smart,
don't start.
I like that. Very interesting. Thank you so much to our viewers for joining us on this important discussion. And of course, to my co-anchors
for having me as
their
well.
insightful conversation. So ensure to subscribe to our channel. You can interact with us further. Tomorrow is our special book review segment, and you want to find out what we're going to be reading tomorrow. So join us 8 a.m. sharp on Upgrade TV at Ways Breakfast. Bye.